We're talking about how to help calm your child during a meltdown. And I just want to pre-frame with you that we're going to be giving you one statement at the end of the webinar that's going to change your life. But before we can even give you that statement, we want to help you build a solid foundation for your role as a parent, because without a solid foundation, we can build the most beautiful, biggest house in the world, but what's going to happen to it if we don't have a solid foundation? I would strongly suggest a pad of paper and a pen, because you're going to miss some information if you don't have one. All right. So I wanted to take just a minute and introduce ourselves, but back in 2011, I had been involved with personal development for 18 years. I had been leading teams in the business world, coaching, speaking, and traveling around for over a decade when I met Thomas. And I had a dream inside my spirit since the age of 22, and I'll be 47 this year, so kind of aged myself there. But since the age of 22, when I read a book called Think and Grow Rich, and I knew at that time that everything my mom had kind of told me about myself wasn't really true. And I thought to myself, if there was ever a way, like, I need to find a way to help every child in the world know their greatness before the age of 12, because if I had known mine, I probably would have finished high school and I probably wouldn't have had a baby at 16 and ran away from home and all of these things that we have to worry about as parents. Well, I did it. I did it to my parents. And then when I found out at 22 that we could create, that we can learn things, that we can develop new skill, that champions aren't born, but they are created, I knew at that time that the world needed to know, but I didn't know how. And so 18 years later, I met Thomas on a cruise ship in the Bahamas. And my kids, like I mentioned at the very, very beginning, were all being diagnosed with behavior disorders, ODD, ADHD, anxiety, and depression. And man, I did everything in my power to help those kids. I've been reading parenting books for, my oldest son is now 21. So I guess almost 22 years, because I started reading them when I was pregnant. I wanted to be the best that I could be for my kids. I wanted to give them a great life. I wanted them to know how special they were and how amazing I thought they were. And I just basically wanted to give them the life that I never had. And so I worked really hard in business to make a lot of money in order to do that. And I'm not going to share every detail because we don't have time for it tonight. But it did get to the point where my 13-year-old son was like, "Mom, stop trying to buy our love." And I'm just going to pause there for a second, because that was like somebody had taken a dagger and stuck it through my heart, right? It was like, oh my gosh, I worked so hard to give you such a great life, and this is the thanks I get. Getting a paper and pen, awesome. Hi, Brittany, welcome. Hi, Megan, welcome. All right, and so somehow 18 years after I declared, even to my dad, that I was going to find this way to help kids, 18 years later, I end up on a cruise ship in the Bahamas and I meet Thomas Liotta. And all I knew at that time was that he had a radio show and I was in personal development. So I thought, yay, I'm going to be famous on his radio show. It's why we became friends. And after talking with him on Skype a few times and over the telephone, and I realized that he's a coach, he's a trainer, he's a teacher, he's really, really smart, and I'd like to have him help me in personal development. So I flew him to Canada, and that's where I got to see him with my kids. So Thomas, just before I let him tell you what he saw in my home when he first came, I had no idea that he knew anything about kids. But I was to find out later that in 1994, the same year that I read Think and Grow Rich, in 1994, he made a decision that his martial arts training, his childhood, what he saw coaching Little League Baseball was always very negative. And so type yes if you agree with this. Do you say no to your kids, like just habitually, without even thinking about it, more often than you say yes? So no, don't do that. That's wrong. You're in a timeout. That's bad. We don't bang glass on the glass table. So if you're with me on this, type yes. I already warned at the beginning. Some of you might. Yes. Okay. I have engagement. Woohoo. All right. So I just thought that I was the greatest. So Tom's in my house, and oh yeah, you're gonna tell your own story, right? Okay, so when he made that decision, he ended up getting his black belt in Taekwondo and opening up a martial arts school, which became a all-day summer camp, after-school program, licensed as a nonprofit. So it was the only place that underprivileged children could go, or children that were being kicked out of traditional daycare because their behavior was off the mark got sent to his school. And for 15 years, he operated in one way, the opposite of anything negative. So everybody typed yes, yes, yes. So the opposite. So he never used the word no, never said don't, stop, can't, never used any type of punishment. He literally developed strategies and exact words and phrases that really work to empower children to be authentically motivated to work with you like this. How excited would you be if your children worked with you like this, like a team? You asked them to do something and they said, yes, ma'am, I'll get right on it. Or you wake up in the morning and, like one of our clients shared on our page the other day, your kids have cleaned up the entire house for you and are preparing special treats. How excited would you be if you could learn to set that environment up in your home? So Tom, what did you see in my house when you first came and I had no idea that you knew anything about kids, and I thought I was the best mom in the world?
The first thing that I saw was a mom who was literally at wit's end and being stressed out. If you could visualize your engine in your car, how it kind of revs up and it gets really right to the red line, you could see that she was doing everything she could and literally running around like watching a dog chase his tail. There was a three-story house, 7 bedrooms. You would hear 4 kids that were in 3 different levels. Mom, and there would go mom right up to the upstairs. Mom, down to the middle. Mom, down to the basement. Mom, all the way back up to the top.
Yeah.
Back. I mean,
run ragged.
This is like, wow, what a great fitness program. Working that Stairmaster, staying in shape. But what I saw was that she was doing absolutely everything, thinking that I am the most perfect parent for my kids. That's what I started to see. But what I knew from the research and the work before that was kind of exclusive from her is she didn't know is that she was heading in the wrong direction. It was just a matter of time before she sank, just like the Titanic. It was just a matter of time.
So Tom was in Canada probably about 4 different times before I ever knew he knew anything about kids. And there was this one night in particular, and I want to tell you about Zachary. He was my youngest. He was 6.5 years old. He had already been kicked out of 3 classes and 2 schools and had just been moved into a class with, I think, 5 or 6 other kids, behavior issue kids. And they had the timeout room in the back. So it had like this big glass shut off room. So when he screamed, they could just put him in there and it wouldn't disrupt the class. That's where we were at with Zach. The psychologist told me he was the worst case of oppositional defiant disorder that she had ever seen. And this was after he stood up in, I think it was the end of grade 1, maybe the beginning of grade 2, but the substitute teacher wouldn't sharpen his pencil. And so he stood up and he threw his desk across the whole classroom, wiped out a bunch of desks and chairs. And then when the teacher went to go, grab his arm, he jumped up on the desk and went from desk to desk to desk to desk and out the door and locked himself in the bathroom. So that was my youngest son right around the time that I met Tom. And I was a business coach. I was a leader. I was training people how to create success in their life. And I was going home and my kids were not personally developed in any form or fashion. They were really headed down a dark path. So this one night in particular, Tom was there, so I had my best mom behavior on and trying to just show off and walking a little bit on eggshells because I was scared of the temper tantrum that was about to come. And I said as nicely as possible, I'm like, Zach, it's bedtime, or it's time for bed. And then Tom came around the corner right when Zach started whining. Tom comes around the corner and says, you might want to write this down because you might not think we're sharing anything in this moment, but there's a lot being shared here, and this story could change your life forever as it did mine. So what did you say to Zach, Tom?
Well, first and foremost, I asked him a question. to engage him to think. And I asked him, hey, Zach, would you like to go to bed now with a story or in 10 minutes from now without a story?
So Zach goes, and I'm thinking, being the greatest mom on the planet, like I read my kids a story every night. It's part of their bedtime routine, right? And I've got 4. So I want to stay right on track because it took about probably an hour and a half of my time every night to tuck them in and read them stories. And so Zach goes, 10 minutes from now without a story. And then Tom goes, well, do you know what that looks like on the clock? And Zach said no. And then Tom took him over to the clock. He showed him exactly what 10 minutes looked like and said, hey, you are in charge of your bedtime. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, he just pulled one over on you, buddy. Like, this is going to be this. Yeah, right. And anyway, 10 minutes later, Zachary come running up the stairs. He had a big smile on his face. He gave us both a hug. I love you. And went to bed. And I never saw him again until morning. And that was like the first check mark in my Creating Champions for Life experience. Where'd you learn that? Okay. And then there's just so many more and we don't have a lot of time, but can you share, Tom, the purpose behind giving Zachary that choice at bedtime? Like what did it do? I mean, Thomas has literally worked with thousands of kids through his after school program. He's been able to take up to 100 of these children at a time out on field trips. Obviously, he'd have a couple of volunteers, but not that many, with phenomenal results just using strategies like this. So what was going through your mind when you asked him the question?
What this really is based on is a lifetime worth of research and development, right? And the research was showing that when you're being told what to do is a dictation. It's time for bed. It's a dictation. But when you get somebody to start to think, and this is almost, as Bonnie would like testify, is that this might have been the first time that Zach got a chance to think.
Yeah.
Because he went, and then he got to pick one. And then he got to show him how to do it, how an adult would do it. And he went through the process. And when he did, it was all whose idea? And if you start to register, it was his idea. And boy, he was just coming in. And of course, Mom was thinking, now he's ready to snow me on this one. Yeah, he's the new guy. And lo and behold, she started to go, what just happened there? So it was beginning to get him to actually activate thinking as part of a like a decision-making training, so he could actually find a way to make it work that was on his terms, because the research shows that when you have an adult brain and a kid's brain, they see the world literally 100% different from each other. And that's what's key.
Absolutely. And we're going to get into that a little bit more. In the next 30 minutes, we're going to cover these 4 points, and we're going to finish this with one statement, and we're going to dive deep into this one statement so that you and your child can get on the same page and you can help them calm down during the meltdown. All right. So we're going to show you how to put an end to power struggles and arguments. Number 2, we're going to show you how you can help your child step into their greatness. There's a comment in this group that's like, it's like hanging out with Jekyll and Hyde. And we do. We have both positive and negative in us. We have both victim and victor in us. So we're going to show you how to help your child step into their victor self, their champion self. We're going to talk about working with your kids as a team, because when you can go from being an opponent to a teammate, there's going to be a lot less opposition, a lot less resistance. Remember, you've always heard it takes 2 to tango, right? It takes 2 to argue. It takes 2 to have oppositional defiant disorder. How much does that make sense? If it makes sense, give me a like or a heart, or say it makes sense. That would be good. All right, we're going to talk about taking the stress and anxiety out of your parenting role, because there's nothing worse than walking around on eggshells. You know, you got to go to the grocery store and you're terrified that your child's going to have this massive temper tantrum. So you're always anxious and stressed out, and then it affects your mental health, it affects your relationships, it affects your whole entire life. So what we're talking about here tonight is the difference between life and death, grow or die, positive or negative, same. Number 1, putting an end to arguments. Now, the belief that we have in society as a whole is that kids will test our boundaries. How often have you heard kids will test our boundaries? My son likes to argue just because he likes to argue, right? We just kind of have this belief, and Tom alluded to it a few minutes ago. He says we have a parent brain, an adult brain, and we have a child brain, right? And they cannot possibly see the world exactly the same. So I want to share this image with you, and I'm going to get Tom to talk for a couple minutes. But can you imagine handing out a lighter to every single 4 or 5-year-old and then trying to teach every parent in the world how to put out fires? Like, would it make sense to do that? Like, oh, play with fire. We're just going to put out fire, react, putting out all these fires all day long, right? Or would it make sense to teach parents around the world how to prevent the fire? So would it make sense to teach us how to put out fires or how to prevent the fire? And this is where I'm looking for a little bit of interaction. Prevent the fire. Thank you, Megan, so much for answering. Prevention, prevent makes sense. We're all on the same page. It would make sense to prevent. So when an argument happens, Thomas, like the child might say, I want a cookie and it's 5 minutes before dinner. Or, I want to watch TV, but the parent has like asked them to clean their room or do their homework or something like that, and they haven't done it. So what is going on when the argument starts happening? What's going on for the child?
Yeah, what's happening for the child, remember, this is the kid's brain. This is the way they're seeing it. They won't see it the same way as you. So what's happening with the child is they have a want, need, or desire. They have a goal. They have something that is important to them, and they're going for it. They have no rhyme or reason how it works, what they need to do correctly as the adult brain is seeing. They don't have that lifetime experience, but they're just going for it. They're just doing something. And all of a sudden, here comes somebody that just licks the red off their lollipop or rains on their parade and tells them, even if it's the sweetest of voices, or if it's going to be something that would save them as far as being safety, is they're telling them, no, don't, and you can't. It's like they're actually asking for help in this really unique way. That's not the way that it sounds right to you, but they're really asking for help. Show me. And we're telling them no, don't, can't, won't. And just at that particular moment, how would you feel if you were to be in the child's shoes? Would it be that positive or would it be negative?
Oh, that's a good question. All right, so you buy a $500 item on a Facebook ad or something like that, and it doesn't show up, and you dial the 1-800 number that they talk about, and you're like, look, I ordered this, I spent $500 on it, I'd like to have it delivered, and the customer service agent says, nope, we don't do that. Does that make you feel really good? Do you feel really empowered? Do you know what to do to get your problem solved? So how does that make you feel if you're the customer service person? Okay, you feel negative. Can I get like a second? Can somebody like second that motion? Frustrated. Yes, negative, frustrated. Okay, so the child says, Mom, I want a cookie. Nope, he feels ignored. Exactly. So, Mom, I want a cookie. And we go, and this is smart because you're the parent. I mean, we can't just be giving our kids cookies because they ask for cookies 5 minutes before dinner. So I get that. All right. But there is a way to do it that is disempowering, that causes opposition. And there's a way to do it that's very empowering, that causes teamwork. Now that we're putting it in this sense, you go to the customer service, and even if the customer service person on the phone can't help you in this moment, but if the customer service person would say, oh, thank you so much for calling. I would love to help you fix that problem. Let me take your name and number and I'll get back to you. So they share with you like a little game plan rather than, no, I can't help you. I don't know what to do. And then they hang up on you. You second that? Thank you, Brittany. All right. So that's a gold nugget, everybody. This is going to put an end to I would say 85 to 90% of the power struggles. Now, I just want to mention that you're seeing Creating Champions for Life through like a little pinhole.
Yeah, a little keyhole.
or keyhole.
Those old school keys.
Those old school keys. You know how they have like the door and then there's this like little keyhole. What you're doing right now is there's no way that we can share all of this in an hour with you. And we don't have 10 hours. Well, neither do you. Nobody has 10 hours to just sit here, right, and go through this. So this is a little gold nugget, but there's a lot more where this came from, right? So the statement is, I would love for you to have a cookie. What do we need to do before we have a cookie? Eat dinner, or I would love for you to have a cookie as soon as dinner is over. And that way, you're not saying yes, but you're not saying no, and you're not disempowering them. You're showing them or telling them exactly how to accomplish what's important to them, which is going to put them at ease and be happier. How much does that make sense? Oh, I love this stuff. All right. I know. Or a straw. That's a good analogy. That's, yeah, if you look through a straw, you just see that little spot over there in the corner. That's so right. I use that with them, wanting me to play with them. Yes, Gabriella. Thank you so much for coming, by the way. Nice to see you. Hi, Tracy. Welcome. All right, we're on point number 3. And Tracy and Susanna, we haven't gotten to the absolute best of the best statement yet, because there's some foundation that we're building here before we tell you how to calm your child during a meltdown, so you haven't missed anything. And if you're here, don't go anywhere. Cancel your plans. It's really important. Hi, Tracy from Australia. Welcome. All right. So, oh, okay. Yeah, right. Yeah. Share this story because this will help make sense. This will help bring the point together.
So something to bring a little bit enlightenment here, or bring awareness, is that the child's brain is seeing things completely different. We're getting onto this track. Now, one of the students that was in the program, and once again, so picture yourself with a martial art discipline program that's a licensed daycare center and nonprofit, so it's taking in all the at-risk kids. And one of the times we were on a field trip. We're going from our school, we're heading down towards the library. Now, today's library trip was to be able to find a book, and whatever the topic was, find something in there, because we were going to share what we found. Real simple, real fun, lighthearted. And as we started to get on that direction, there was, you could hear a power struggle, a meltdown, right? You can go by many different names, but it's just they were in a cry mode. And this child started to say names, talk loud. A little push comes a shove, right? And you could see that he was getting out of control, and everybody was in reactive mode. But when you look and you see, okay, there's something behind this. What is causing this? And you found it to where when we got there, what was it about the library that was that opposition for little Brandon? And so when we got there, I'm thinking, gosh, you know, this is really a little over the top of what's happening. And so long story short, when we started to investigate, I'm thinking to myself, have you ever gone to one of those movies that's like a horror show and you're scared, like a haunted house that you can go in? Well, that's what Brandon saw the library as. Now, he's in the 5th grade at this time. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm wondering if he has an issue with reading. Just what if? And so, sure enough, we had him tested. He's in the 5th grade. Now, remind you, people were sharing this kid. He's a handful. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have your work cut out for yourself with him. Mm-hmm. Well, when we had him tested, guess what grade reading level Brandon had? It's obviously going to be less than 5th grade. Right? And if your mind went all the way back to 1st grade reading level. So here was Brandon having a label of acting out, ODD, these other types of things, unwanted behavior. And it was for so many years. When it came to reading, he acted out and everybody backed off, and he learned to adapt that way. Mm-hmm. So when we got him into a reading program to catch up on that, we finally found the rooted cause of the fear that was causing this so-called bad behavior, because once we found the missing life skill and started to work on it, everything went right away. And it took zero effort to stop that when you actually gave the guiding to the front side.
Awesome.
And that was Brandon. What a great success story he had, because we found out what was his missing link.
Yeah, it reminds me of why Zachary would throw his desk across the whole classroom too. Is probably because he didn't know how to sharpen his pencil, because his first teacher didn't teach him to sharpen his pencil. She just did it for him. And so when his substitute teacher said no, his brain went into it was like you're taking this little spirit and putting it inside a box and putting like this tape around it, and they have no choice but to like act out or freak out because they don't have the adult words to say, I don't know how to do that. Can you please show me how to sharpen a pencil? They get embarrassed. And I'm going to share a story in a minute that's going to sum that all up too. So this was step 2, helping your child step into their power. And that's what Tom's talking about, recognizing when the child actually needs help. They either need to learn a life skill or they require some authentic motivation, which is what we're talking about. And Carrie, I want to answer your question, because a minute ago when I was sharing, I'd love for you to have a cookie. As soon as dinner's over, you can make that happen for yourself. And that is just like the tip of the iceberg. You can take it really down the rabbit hole if you like, because Tom would say, would you like to have 1 cookie or 2 cookies? Would you like to have a half a cookie, 1 cookie, or 2 cookies? And what are they going to say 9 times out of 10? 99 times out of 100, actually. 9.9 times out of 10, the child is going to say, I want 2 cookies. Oh, that's awesome. I would love for you to have 2 cookies. So let me show you what you can do to have 2 cookies. Let me show you what you can do to have 1 cookie. And let me show you what you can do to have half a cookie. And then, half a cookie might be like a whine or complain, or maybe they eat a portion of their dinner. You see what I'm saying? The plan is going to be unique to you. What we're saying is that when your child asks for something, that's called a goal. And if we're going to say no or even yes, what we're doing is we're like smothering their desire with a blanket, and we're stealing their motivation, kind of, because they don't know what to do to get what they want. It's like that customer service. I just spent $500. You're telling me you can't help me. Don't tell me that you're not going to have a temper tantrum. Like, because I would have a temper tantrum, and I'll admit, actually, my mom never took time to teach me self-control as a child, so it's something that I'm still working on. It just Yeah, Tom will agree. What, you want to say something?
Yeah. Let's just add a little +1 to that, because
awesome.
The age is irrelevant when it comes to self-control, controlling oneself. And that's really one of the cornerstones or a principle.
Yeah.
And so we have like a definition or an affirmation or a way to program, right? If your brain is a computer, which it is, it needs some software to update. So you run this particular program with the kids. Self-control. I am in control of my body, my actions. It's one of the biggest shifts, because when we say yes and no to them, we're literally robbing them of self-control training, of a missing life skill. I am in control of my body, my actions. And that was very key with the Brandon story.
Yes. And here, let me prove it to you right now. And then Charlie, I'll get you to your question. And I want some interaction. So run back from the kitchen or the bathroom or wherever you're at and get to your keyboard, because this is really important. All right. You need to get this. Does your child act differently in different environments? So if your child is, at a friend's house having a sleepover, do you often hear, wow, he's so polite. What a good little boy. And you're like, who are you talking about? Right? Okay, so I'm waiting for answers. Does your child act differently in different situations? Okay. Does your child, when you catch them, so there's a second question now. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Second question now. Does your child's demeanor change when you catch them doing something off the mark? So Charlie's asking about cookies, and let's say that you have this plan for cookies and you walk in and your 8-year-old's like up on the counter getting a cookie. Do they change their demeanor? I wasn't doing anything. No, I just check in. All right, new comments. I need to see. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. That's self-control. That is self-control. So our belief especially when we have kids who are being labeled with ADHD and ODD, is that they cannot help themselves. And what I want to say is that, and Tom can allude to this a little bit more, but what I want to say is that we believe when our children are born, there's some part of us in our society today, I'm talking the masses of us, because I was in the same boat too, but I think we somewhat believe that our children are born and they'll grow into manners. You know, they grow into respect. They grow into work ethic. And I'm here to say that's not true. It's a lie. It's something that is going to take us off the edge of a cliff. It's something that is hurting our children more than we can ever express in words, because it's halting them. Because if they don't develop these neural pathways of self-control and focus and respect and manners and how to treat authority and how to treat others with kindness, if they don't develop those neural pathways now, like it took me 10 years to go through personal development to become anything close to what I am today. Are you with me? 10 years to get over the disempowerment from my parents, to no fault of their own. I'm not here to blame them. I'm just saying that if we don't believe that they can control themselves, then we're going to, be in a pot of boiling water and it's heating up and it's going to boil someday. Now, maybe you've seen this, but Dr. Phil had a show one time several years back, and there was this little guy. It was all about this 12-year-old slapping his mom across the face on the Dr. Phil show. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but the one line in there in particular that got me was this little 12-year-old trying to send a message to mom, like, Mom, like, it's my body, it's my results, it's my life, and you're controlling me. It's like I'm in control of my body and I'm in control of my life. And she goes, nope, I'm in control of you. Like I control you. How many people just in me describing this story can see that, number one, your child can practice self-control because they do it on the negative spectrum. But that, number two, that we cannot ever control our child. Right? You can't control anybody. I can't control Tom. He definitely can't control me. I could never control any of my kids. We want to. We are wired to think that we can. We have been wired. We've been trained for 85 years to think that to be a good parent is to be and do and have everything for them and to give them. We have all been trained with the same techniques. So why are these behavior disorders and depression and teenage suicide skyrocketing through the roof more and more every year? There has to be something to this. And I'm telling you what, we have clients here with us today, and we get a 100% success rate with every single client that works with us long-term, because we follow principles. And, we might all be different. Obviously, we have different personalities, but we all have desires and goals, and we'll all smile back to a smile, right? And we'll all have temper tantrums to a customer service department that says no, right? And so it might take some training, but we're here to say, your child has pure potential to become, like, he can go from the most oppositional, defiant child to the most respectful, happy child out there. And if you're one of our clients and you're already seeing it, give me some hearts so that the new people can go, oh yeah, that's cool. I'm hoping that I get some hearts now.
I see this right here.
My 5-year-old daughter constantly says she can't control her emotions. Oh my gosh. Yay. Wait, I'm getting hearts. I like the hearts. Okay, that's so cool. All right. I'm going to let Tom deal with that in just a moment, because because I also have a question to answer for Charlie, but we might come back to it. I wrote it down. So this is all about helping your child act with self-control. Okay, you got
30 seconds.
60 seconds.
All right, 60.
Yay, I like the heart. So y'all agree. These are our clients, everybody.
Okay, so this looks like Kari. Okay, so as I'm reading here exactly verbatim what you're saying, okay, is My 5-year-old constantly says, yeah, she can't control her emotions. Now, this is what's amazing. When you hear your child say that, right? The child has not the intellect yet to explain it in a way like this. Hey, mom, dad, you're the big one, right? You're the leader. I came to you with this beautiful spirit that's ready to just take on the world. Show me how it works. Believe in me. Let me give it a go and believe that I can actually learn. And so what she's really, really saying to you is when you can begin to see this from the other side. Mom, would you please teach me how to manage or guide my emotions? Because they're coming and they're going where they're going, and I don't know how to steer the bicycle yet. And yes, that's what she's saying. And when you begin to see it, you shift from that punishment side, you're shifting over to the guiding of the behavior, and you're getting right back into the sweet spot, which is nature's law.
Tom, what is the Creating Champions for Life definition of self-control?
I love this one.
Pen and paper.
Yes, pen and paper. Those that are curious will listen to it, and it will be gone in 24 hours to 48, 97% guaranteed. But if you write it down, faintest of ink is stronger than the best memory. Self-control. I am in control of my body and my actions. It's literally renting your body to where you're taking ownership of it. I'm in control of this. Mind, body, and spirit. I'm in control of my body, my actions. That's the first program to upload for our little children, because now they have a say, and all they need to do is learn, and they're looking for you for that authentic missing ingredient called leadership in the family.
Yeah, Dr. John Locke back in the 17th century. I know. It's like, why don't we know this? Back in the 17th century, he said that kids are better off guided than punished, because when a baby is born, they're born with no neural pathways. They don't know what manners are, how to drive a car, or how to tie their shoes, or how to focus, or how to manage their emotions, or how to get a cookie or an Xbox or a video game. Like, they don't know how to do this. How do we get video games, you guys? We got to go get a job. We got to work our job for a couple of weeks. We got to pay the price, maybe even a whole month, because they're not cheap, these Xboxes. And then they got to go to the store, pick it out. They got to get games at $50 a game. And if we're just supplying all this for them, how are they ever going to know where anything comes from? Like honestly, our kids are being raised in some sort of fantasy land world that doesn't exist. Because where can you cry, kick, and scream and whine as an adult, and people are going to actually go, okay, you can have this? Like, the world doesn't work this way. And I really authentically believe that the oppositional behavior is coming from our kids at such a massive scale, because they're trying to share a message, and the message is, I don't need you to give me stuff. I need you to show me how life works. I need you to show me how to master my emotions. I need you to help me develop the neural pathway for focus. I need you to help me develop the neural pathway for everything that you want me to be and do and have, and everything that I want to be, do, and have. Yeah. Because sometimes our kids are not going to be, do, and have what we want them to be. Gosh, I could talk all day. Okay. Oh, Charlie, before I move on and forget, I wanted to mention, what if they already ate 3 cookies? And my question for you again is, who is the leader of your home? You or your children? Do your children have the right just to climb into the cupboards and eat as many cookies as they like? Did they buy the cookies? Did they go to the store, get a job, go to the store, buy them and bring them home? Or do they belong to the child? Or is that a treat? Is it a privilege that one must work towards? And if we become the leaders in our home as parents, and we become authentic leaders and teammates with our children, and we're walking side by side, and we understand that our job is to guide them to their goals, no matter what it is, without judgment. Oh my gosh, you're going to have such a loving, trusting, respectful relationship with your kids, like the dream life as a parent, right? But we got to take our eyes off control, because that's a myth. It's a false belief where we can never control our children. And the more we try to, the more oppositional they're going to become, because they're little spirits and they have little minds, and they have all the same desires that you have. And if no one's ever going to show you how to, go live your life, it can be very terrifying for a child.
Yeah.
All right.
Quick question here.
Yeah.
If you really begin to think of it, right? If you are supposed to control them, right? Keep them safe. We all understand the reasons behind this belief. But ask and answer this question for yourself. Who's going to control them when you're not around?
Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Guys, doing the laundry is a neural pathway. If your children are being diagnosed with behavior disorders, then you must have heard the term neural pathway. Your child is missing neural pathways of focus and self-control, right? That's ADHD. ODD is you're going to customer service every day, and every day they're telling you no, and every day you're having temper tantrums eventually. That's ODD, because an angry child that goes longer than 6 months with these angry outbursts are going to be diagnosed. But that is one side of the spectrum. That's one side. That's literally the negative side of the spectrum. But there's a whole nother world to exist, and we're talking about it right here. You're in the right place at the right time. So we were just talking actually about point number 4. This is how you can take all the stress out of your parenting. This is it. When we take the control away, and we make a proactive plan for everything, for every cookie. Yes, that's right. Oh my gosh, that sounds like work. Well, I'm sorry, you're a parent. You have a job to do. It's work, but it's way less work than putting out the fires. Way less work, because this is like you teach your child a skill one time and they have the pathway now. They have that neural pathway developed for the rest of their lives. As soon as your child knows that they can set a goal for that cookie, Charlie, maybe they want 3 cookies, maybe they want a whole bag of cookies. Well, what is the plan for that? How can we show that child how to go get a bag of cookies? The plan will all be unique to you, but this is how you prevent the fire versus having to put them all out. And Charlie's a fire safety guy. So yes, I did make that up since we talked, Charlie. So, all right. Yeah, because we somehow have this belief that kids should just listen. I mean, I think that's the second most. Why won't my kids just listen to me? Guys, they're not supposed to. Because if we teach our children that they just listen to adults, then the first adult that comes along the sidewalk that says, get in my car, the child's going to get in their car and they're gone forever. They're kidnapped. They have no inner oomph, no zest for life, no purpose, no direction. They don't just have to listen to everything we dictate to them, because they're not like something we own. We don't own our kids. Oh, Charlie. Yeah. All right. We don't own them. They're here. They're counting on you to fill in all these missing pieces and to teach them the life skills that they need to be successful now and forever. Okay. Now and forever, not just get them to listen to you today. We're talking about life skills that'll give them a successful life. So, all right, we're at the fun part. 13 minutes to 7. Oh,
right. When he says no.
So if they never hear no, how do we prepare them for a boss who says no? Trust me. Okay.
One answer.
Okay. I've been an adult now for almost 30 years, and the universe tells me no. I'm just saying, if I set a goal and I'm not willing to work towards it, then I don't get it. And that's how life works. And things aren't going to come easy. But we're literally promised that what the mind of man or woman can conceive and believe, it can achieve. It's called a goal, right? So you teach your child to persevere through the obstacles. And we teach our children how to deal with the negative aspects of society. You know what? There are going to be people out there that tell you no, because they don't know how to tell you how to make a plan to achieve the goal. Right? So, like my daughter wanted a dog, and we didn't want to have a dog. So we created a master plan. She was 11. Okay, well, what kind of dog? What do you like about dogs? Where did you see a dog? Where did you get an idea to have a dog? So in this sense, we're validating, we're empowering her little spirit, because we didn't just go, no way, we're not getting a dog, right? We talked to her about it. We helped her set it as a goal. That's great. So how much money is a dog? How much is dog food? Like if you had dog food money saved and vet money saved for the whole first year and you had it all planned out, then, you know, we could probably work something out. So she came back about a week later and she had this master plan in place. And she's like, I'm going to need about $4,000 to get my dog. And then she went to work for it. And she actually earned about $100 in that week. People were donating and she was cleaning up people's yards and stuff. And after about a week, she goes, you know, maybe I change my mind and get a cat. That was a lot easier to take care of. So let somebody else tell them no, I guess is my answer. I mean, society's going to tell them no, but our job is to teach them how to maneuver through that. And it's pretty powerful when you're watching your 29-year-old daughter. Like I put a post in here last week and she wanted to take grandpa fishing in a boat, but they didn't have any boats. So she persevered through all of the no's until she got a yes, and she took him out on the boat. And that's what we want them to develop, the habit of persistence, and they do have it in them. No means next opportunity. I love all these winners. Love it.
There it is.
All right. So we're getting into calming your child through a meltdown. But how many of you had some aha moments just during the first 45 minutes of this presentation today? Some aha moments, some things that you're going to take ownership of, that you're going to move towards the future with like new lenses. Start looking at our kids like they with an educational lens versus a behavioral lens, because maybe it's not behavior at all. Awesome. That's great. Love. Thomas, there was 2 statements for helping a child calm down through a meltdown. Now, this is if we don't have a plan and the child hasn't developed the neural pathway yet of no means next opportunity, right, Brittany? Because they have habits, and if your child's already having meltdowns, then that's a neural pathway. They've developed that pathway because that's the way they think they get what is important to them. Make sense? Yeah, it probably sure does. So there were 2 statements that get tossed around quite a lot. Well, actually, there's one, which is use your words. Use your words, right? Calm down. Be quiet. Go over there, right? Okay. What is use your words, calm down, be quiet, Tom?
They are dictations.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
Yes.
You're telling them what to do. And once again, it's a rookie mistake. We don't even know that we don't even know. So you kind of can give yourself permission to like play the innocent card. I just didn't know. I'm new to this. Right? But it's a dictation and you're controlling their spirit. And as we all know, nobody can control the human spirit. So it's futile to even attempt it. And that's really what it means, is you're dictating versus guiding, and you didn't even validate. You were telling them against their will. Yeah. And any will that's convinced against this will wake up in the next morning with the same opinion still. They're going to see it as negative. Negative.
Stop telling me what to do. Wives, do you ever look at your husband or your partner and you're like, gosh, I'm sleepy, or gosh, I had a bad day at work. And then the first words out of their mouth is, take a nap then. Well, I don't have time. I don't want to take a nap. I just wanted to express myself to say I'm feeling a little bit sleepy, right? Or, gosh, I had a bad day at work today. Well, quit your job. You don't need that anyway. I don't want to quit my job. I just wanted to tell you I had a bad day. It's that same vibration where the spirit doesn't know why they're angry, but the spirit is just going, stop telling me what to do. I can do it myself, right? We've seen our kids go, look what I did, or I can do it myself. And we see these little 2-year-olds and they want to pour their own milk. And we know if they pour their own milk, it's going to end up all over the floor. But can we give them like a little saucer, like a little measuring cup or something with a little bit of milk and teach them to pour it on their cereal? We sure can. And then they can say, look what I did. Like, I know you already feeling the energy is already happier in this room, isn't it? Like, this is amazing. It's so awesome. Okay. So there is another statement but it also needs a little polishing too. So this is the statement to help your child calm during a meltdown. If we forget to pre-frame everything and we forget to validate their goals and they actually end up having a meltdown, then this is the go-to statement. I will speak to you when you are calm. So use your words is a dictation. I will speak to you when you are calm is a plan. See how simple the plan is, though? I will speak to you when you are calm. You may have your cookies when you eat all of your dinner. If you just want a half a cookie, all you got to do is eat half your dinner. You choose. And trust me, they'll eat all their dinner because they want those cookies. That's how this works. Mm-hmm. All right. So I will speak to you when you are calm needs a little bit of polishing and some work.
Because once again, it's going to be about the kid's brain and the adult brain. Let's look at the word calm. The adult brain knows that it looks like this. I am ready and I am calm. That's what the adult brain knows. That's what you know. And you learn it through experience. You weren't born with it, right? It's not like we make it to age 10 and all of a sudden no responsibility and I can now make my bed with no training, right? We know that that doesn't happen. So that kid's brain, what does calm mean? Right. They have no clue. And it's our belief that we told them 100 times, 100 times, 100 times.
Oh my gosh.
That they get it or they should know it, right? So this is already your first rub, is that when you begin to see that, oh my gosh, I'm the one that lit the match on the fuse that erupted the outbreak, right? When you begin to see that. So now when you look into it, because the kid's brain cannot fast forward into the adult brain world, but our research shows, right? This is like 29 years of research, and the research tells us absolute certainty, like gravity, and the sun's coming up tomorrow. It's a principle that you can go back to when you were a kid, and instead of being that opposition, you're now a teammate, and you're going all the way back. That's what's key. So now this requires a very simplistic game that's been around since the beginning of time, and it is part of the missing link of what is happening. It's called monkey see, monkey do, right? So how do you actually share what calm is? You can say it till the cows come home, but it's watching. Hands on your laps, right? Back is straight, calm, breathing, and having a inside voice, right? They will see it before they hear it. That's what monkey see, monkey do is all about. It's follow the leader, right? So with this being said, they must be taught, shown, and being able to demonstrate. That's key. Not going, because that won't cut it.
Right.
It's when they demonstrate it. Now, I seen you do it. You know how to do this. The innocent or the ignorant card of I don't know is gone because they've done it. Just like pretending you can't walk once you learn how to walk. So this is key. Monkey see, monkey do. Here's where you do the training. And this is the part that's being missed.
Oh, and I want to say, because Elizabeth, I want you to know I do see your question. I see 3 like check marks on your question. So restraining, like the kids are freaking out so badly that you're having to restrain them to keep the house safe. What do you do then? And so I want you to see this almost through different lenses, because it's like Einstein said, the mindset to create the problem is the same one that can't fix it, because if it could, like, why would you ever have, created this environment in the first place? You never would. This is not intentional. And I wanted to say too, that it's not your fault. We have been wired to parent this way. We have been wired to bring outside answers, oh, we've got to overcompensate to help our kid because they can't control themselves. So when we switch it around, and this training is for you too, because once you start training with your son, or it probably is a son, because usually it's sons that need to be restrained, but sometimes it is daughters too. But once your son begins to practice, like what Tom's talking about right now, during his calm times, then this statement, I will speak to you when you are calm, will actually work because it's actually a plan. So what I'd love for you to do is take some of the advice that you're hearing tonight and go implement it. Go offer your child choices, validate everything that he says moving forward, and always think about how can I make a plan to show him how to get what's important to him. And chances are you won't need to ever restrain him again. Now, I want to mention that we have clients that study a 1-year program with us, and the first training that we do with them is self-control training. We do self-control practice with our parents, because if we can't practice self-control, then how are they ever going to? And we have a client right now who is dealing with the exact same things not that long ago. And she said when she's practicing her own self-control training and she gets upset about something, she goes and she sets the egg clock timer. So she'll set the timer and she'll breathe until she's calm. And then her son got upset one day just last week or something, and he went and got the egg timer and set it and breathed just like mom until he was calm. She was like, I just couldn't even believe where this kid came from. But these are opportunities. We're planting seeds with you here tonight. Obviously, we can't tell you everything that we know in 1 hour, but we're doing the best that we can to give you everything that we got in this time that we have together. So begin somewhere. Understand it's going to take some time. Your family probably needs a little healing, and you probably all need to practice what Tom's about to go through. And we got about 10 minutes and we'll wrap up today. But begin where you're at and begin to see the finish line, a happy, healthy, harmonious, loving, trusting family. It does exist, and you're very close to it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so let's back up just a little bit here. Remember, we talked about the monkey see, monkey do, showing and demonstrating, and them actually following what calm looks like.
Yes.
Right? Because now, for the very first time, they can actually associate what calm means in the childlike brain. Because when you just tell them and tell them and tell them, right? This research has been done extensively. And the research will show, and they had this one campaign back in the school system. It was called Dial 911. How many of us might remember that on some level, right? All the kids were given stickers, when in trouble, call 911. And it was a huge campaign. We're talking millions of dollars. And the research showed that it was an absolute failure, because guess how many kids, when they did the follow-up and they followed up with how many kids were in that situation, should have called 911, but didn't. This is key. They didn't. And it's because of this. There's no neurological pathway that was demonstrated in that campaign. It was completely missed. It was all told. I got it. Yeah, 911. I can even say it. But unless it's done one time with action, to actually develop it neurologically. So here was the missing component. If they would have done this one little step, it would have been a huge success. You dial 911, pick up the phone, ding, ding, ding. My name is, I live at, I need help with blank. Your turn. What was the number? Even though they're looking at what's the number to 911, right? It's like when they dial it and they physically say it. That was key. Now, that's what makes the difference. This is where we're now shifting back to the calm. So when can we start to train this self-control? Well, there's 3 magical windows that are brilliant, and it's called breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You have a grandma, or do you have a mom, or do you have somebody in your life that you're excited about eating, and they give you one instruction: love for you to eat, go wash your hands, right? You can eat when your hands are clean. You got that. It's a cause before the effect. What needs to happen? So here we are. When they're ready to get ready to eat, they're sitting down at the table, and those egg timers, boy, those are the best ones. You set it for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5, somewhere in there. You'll know the sweet spot. Set it, and do the calm. Hands right there. Maybe they're like this. The idea is you're playing statue. You're going to be, show me your best rock, you know, and then right there, and you're breathing where? In through your nose, out through your mouth. And the voice comes out calm, and they're sitting there waiting. And as soon as they do it, now this is what's key. How many of us would default and say, okay, this is what you got to do. You got to sit still, and then you can eat. Dictation, dictation, dictation. You're going to miss it and re-stirk it back up. However, you don't tell them to do anything. You do it. Give me a thumbs up if this is starting to make sense of like, okay, I'm ready to eat. They need some leadership. Who are they going to follow? Who's the leader? Bonnie asked these questions. Great. Whose order? You or them? You are. Who chose to have kids? You did. Who's the actual leader looking for leadership? You are. Who's the cause? Who's the effect? Bing, bing, bing. We get it. Okay, awesome. So you sit there and you put that dial, you set it down, and you're like this. Oh, kids can run around. They're throwing things, spitting in your face. Whatever. Call it what it is. But you're right there and you're zen. And as soon as that 1 minute goes ding, you're like, woohoo, I'm ready to go get some food. Yeah. And you get to stand up, grab your plate, and they're going to go, I want. I would love for you to have some of that. That's called a goal. What did I do? That's not fair. Well, you bet it is, because what did I do first? And then they're like, duh, click. They started to do it because they've already been trained once, right? That's what's key. It's the action that goes through. So now let's come back. They get 3 times. You do that calm training, that self-control training. Sit still, right? There you go. Now when it's there, so now, you know, and I want to go back to, I think it was Elizabeth, right? Was it Elizabeth? Okay. Now, Elizabeth, what I want you to do is I want you to see yourself as on the reactive side, right? We're all active parents, right? Because we're here, we have a pulse, we love them, we're just going, going, going. So there's proactive and reactive, right? There's active, pro, and re. You're in reactive. This is what is called a reactive question. It would be like me asking you as a parachute instructor, we're in the plane, I jump out, you're out there, and I go, excuse me, I forgot my parachute. What do I do? Right? I mean, that's really the question you're asking when you ask it this way. When you see it, you'll be like, okay. If you take it personal, you miss the point. If you see it for what it is, you're in. Well, I don't know, enjoy the view, count to 10, aim for water. I mean, there really is no answer, and it'll be as successful of spending your energy there, chasing the tail like the dog, because when you bite it and you catch it, what did you really win? It hurts. You don't. That's why you're not really going to see a lot of energy. We'll acknowledge it. You asked the question. Great. Let's shift to this side. Fair enough? Because when they do have this meltdown, and that's why you're here, because you didn't know, you were the cause. They have a cry. It's just a 5-year-old cry, a 10-year-old cry. It's a baby with muscles. It's a baby that can actually throw things. Yeah. It is somebody who can actually use words and go, you are a blank. Mental blackmail. Call it what it is. Of course, it's a disorder. It just needs to be put into alignment, a missing life skill. That's what solves every single disorder. Our research shows that, and the research proves it. It's not an opinion. It's gravity. Doesn't even require us to believe it for it to work. Yep. So now when they're in that meltdown and you're in that place, now you got 3 things in place. The child knows what calm is. Check. You know how to guide them with a plan. Love for you to be able to do blank. I will talk to you, or we will be able to continue when you're calm. Now the child goes, oh yeah, I remember 911 stuff. Ding, ding, ding. My name is, I live at. Mom, I'm ready and I'm calm. Bingo. Who's in control of their body interactions? The child is. You're never going to restrain them and control them. Yeah. Keep feeding them vegetables, and when they're all bigger and stronger than you, good luck. Do you see what we're getting at? So that's what's exciting. So now that when they are calm, they can have that trigger, you allow them to cry it out, right? Right. And then they start to go, I'm in chaos. I'm a pile of numbers. just all over. Oh, 1, 2, 3. They're in order now. Then you've come completely out of it. And now the child was just looking for that real authentic question. Hey, this is important to me. If I knew how to do it, I wouldn't need you. Would you show me, believe in me that I can actually learn, and give me a chance to fail first attempt in learning? And that's the process, because nobody does anything right. Walking, riding a bike, driving a car, your first kiss, it is part of the process. It's a belief that you have to do it right the first time. That's not serving us. Where did we learn it? Let it go. And that's what's key. And yes, every single meltdown that's ever occurred during this whole project, every single one of them has been able to be put out, because if you can create it, you can do the opposite. And yes, it really is that simple. Once you see it and practice it and have the neurological pathway yourself, because between me and you and this fence post right over here, we have missing life skills too. And when we put those into place, oh, well, you ask some of the moms that have been here, and better yet, ask Mom Bonnie, because if it wasn't for her, I guarantee you, none of you would have this information. This lady right here took it upon herself to walk away from everything in her life and had a dream that if every parent could just know about this option, whether you do it or not, that's up to you, but you've got to know it. Now you can make a change. And that is why we're going to be doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bonnie, because if it wasn't for Bonnie, we talk about this a lot, this would have been taken to the grave, and that is no lie.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay, there was a lot. Like, your cups are probably overflowing. Actually, I have this picture of a horse, and it's got like a hose spraying in his face. That's probably where you feel right now. But I just wanted to close off by saying validate. If your child is validating, you won't have to worry about them hitting and kicking and screaming during meltdowns. But the biggest thing is we as their parents must begin to believe in our children more than the inefficiencies or more than the disorders. Like, we need to believe in our children more than the disorders. Because when we first started this with Zach, he literally would say, and he was 6.5, almost 7, you can't expect the same from me because my brain is broken. And I don't want my kids to believe that their brain is broken. His brain wasn't broken. He was smart. He was charming. He had all these things. But when things didn't go his way, he'd have a meltdown. And I know what it's like to have 2, 3, 4 hour screaming fit meltdowns. I know what it's like to have holes in my wall. That's what I created by overcompensating and by dictating and by trying to control them. So, you know, like I said, like Tom's saying, you know, some of these questions that we're asking, you know, what do I do when my kid's like kicking and now or hitting and throwing? I get that. But begin with validation. Take tonight's presentation and begin to validate. I'm on your side. I want that for you too. And to understand that they have no idea how the world works. Like you said, they don't know what be calm is. Use your manners. Open the door for the older person. They have no idea what you're even saying. It's like that Charlie Brown teacher. Womp, 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 womp. And your kid's just going, oh, I just wanted a cookie. I don't even get what you're doing. So it's awareness first, and then we can master the principles later. Creating Champions for Life has 12 principles to master. And I think some of you are starting to put 1 or 2 of the links together, and you're already seeing some results. And I think that's fabulous, like so fantastic. But I want you to know there's 12 more levels deep that we get to go to help empower your family, because to go from chaos and frustration and stress and anger, and to go from these hour-long temper tantrums and screaming fits to happiness, harmony, there's something in the middle, and it's called the law of gender. And it's like being pregnant, right? You're like 6 months pregnant. Oh, I'm so hot. I get this baby out now. But the universe says, it's 9 months, lady, whether you like it or not. The gestation for a baby is 9 months. The gestation for a carrot is 7 weeks. And I don't know how long the gestation will be for you. I know that we have clients that get results like sometimes first day, first week, first few months, but not like their dream life. That takes time. But that being said, it's not about the destination. You're never going to have a final destination with your child. Sorry, it doesn't happen at 18. It does not. I'm sure we have some people here in the group that are raising their grandkids as we speak, right? It never ends. Your children will come back to you at 18, 25, 30, 35. Can I borrow $10,000 to buy a car? I mean, it's just going to get bigger and bigger. And so when we can learn to master this now, I would love for you to have $10,000 for your car. And then we can put a plan together so that they can actually earn the $10,000 themselves. Then life changes. They say on average, it's $250,000 to raise a child in today's day and age from 0 to 18. But if you have a child with a disorder, it's an extra $1,500 a year, statistically speaking, with doctor's appointments, therapy, medication, and days missed from work and all that. But there's a positive side. So take one or two of the points that you learned here tonight, begin to apply it in your home with your kids. Give us your stories, your questions, and everything else. Next week, we are going to go through this list of self-control training ideas that we didn't get to tonight because we're out of time. But I'm also, for those of you that are like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense, but feel like that horse with the hose and the water in the face, you know it makes sense, but you have no idea. We kind of sounded like womp, 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 womp to you because this is the first time you've heard it. I'm going to put a link to schedule a strategy session in the comments here. I'm going to try to pin it at the top, but I may also just edit the top and put like schedule a strategy session with me, because if we talked for 10, 15 minutes, you'd have a really good idea of whether you wanted to work with us long-term or not. And we're fine either way, but I just know the answers are here. We want to show you, you've seen the negative side of the spectrum. We want to show you the positive side of the spectrum. If you've gotten some value out of tonight's presentation, I'd love to just see a whole bunch of like hearts or likes. Hearts are my favorite. Actually makes me feel better. I feel like I have more time. Yes, you have lots of time. It never ever going to end. I'm still my dad's baby, and I'm almost 47 this year, and they still tell me what to do. It's so fun. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. We're going to do this again next Thursday. Every Thursday night at 6 p.m. is our chosen time to come in here and give you guys as much value in an hour as we possibly can. And if you have a bunch of questions or you'd like to talk to us at the end of next week's webinar, we'll stay for that too. So thank you so much. We just want to send love and light and blessings to you and your family. And we'll see you next time.